My name is Gabriela Palacios, and I did the Vikings for my project. So the question is, how did the Vikings impact the Anglo-Saxon period? Who are the Vikings? The Vikings are invaders, predators, barbarians, rapists, and stealers. How did the Vikings travel? They would usually travel by boats on the sea and also by the river to get to places where they wanted to be. So what did the Vikings do? Well, they mostly destroyed and steal and even captured people into slaves and, well, basically destroy everything that got in their path. So what occurred to the Vikings? So King Alfred was the king of the 9th century, and he basically stopped the Vikings from taking over England and defeated them. So the Vikings' homeland was mainly in Europe, and they would mostly travel to Sweden, Norway, and Finland, and mostly Denmark. Finland wasn't their primary place to be at. So how do we and the people know them by? People started to look at the Vikings and started to learn about them by or through archaeology, poetry, treatises and writings, proverbs, and this type of technology to get to know the Vikings started in Europe and Asia. So do the Vikings have any skills? Yes, they do. They like to trade with other people, and they are craftsmen, boat builders, and very talented people who like to discover new places and just look around to see what other people have and just take over and basically just be mean. Like, they're just really skilled explorers. So the Anglo-Saxon and in Britain became neighbors with the Vikings for a little while, but they just never got along. So the Battle of Edington and the Vikings was very calming. The Viking leader Guthrum became and converted to Christianity. So that was one important point for the Vikings. So what do the Vikings have control of? Midlands and the North. Where would the Vikings settle in? Unknown places in Europe. Just take over and settle in, just like I said last time. And are the Vikings nice? Do they still exist? No and yes, they just don't show up as often as usual as they would back then. The Vikings were not permanently defeated, so they could still be doing bad things out there, but they still do exist. And this is my works cited, and that was my project.